After our unexpected meeting with Prince Tade, though still disguised as an ordinary man, Toyin found herself at a crossroads. She had lived a life of hardship and survival, and now a seemingly kind stranger had entered her world. Little did she know, her encounter with him would begin to unravel secrets, mysteries, and betrayals far beyond her understanding. One day, as Toyin was closing up her market stall, a woman approached her, a woman who seemed out of place in the noisy, crowded market. She was dressed in a sleek, modern gown, her expensive handbag dangling casually from her shoulder. Her name was Fumi, and she radiated elegance and confidence. But there was something unsettling about the way her eyes lingered on Toyin's plantains. "I heard about you, Toyin," Fumi said in a low voice, her lips curling into a thin smile. "You have been spending a lot of time with a man who, well, let's just say he isn't who you think he is." Toyin's heart skipped a beat. How did this woman know about Prince Tade? And what did she mean? Fumi was no ordinary woman. She was one of the most powerful socialites in the kingdom, and she had her eyes set on Prince Tade. Unbeknownst to Toyin, Fumi had been secretly watching the prince for months, scheming to secure her place at his side. Now, seeing the prince take an interest in a simple plantain seller from the market, Fumi with jealous and rage. She was determined to get Toyin out of the picture no matter the cost. Meanwhile, back at the palace, Prince Tade faced his own dilemma. His closest confidant, Bamidele, a wise and trusted advisor, has warned him that his growing affection for Toyin could bring about dangerous consequences. Bamidele was a man of deep knowledge and experience. He had served the royal family for decades and had seen what love, when mixed with power, could do. "My prince," Bamidele said, his voice low and filled with caution, "you must be careful. The world you live in and the world she comes from, they are not the same. Your intentions may be pure, but others will see her as a threat. They will use her against you." Tade knew Bamidele was right, but the more he tried to distance himself from Toyin, the more he found himself drawn to her innocence, her strength, and her unwavering spirit. She represented everything that was missing in his life, a sense of realness, of grounding. But was it worth the risk? Toyin, unaware of the forces at play around her, continued her life in the village. But strange things began to happen. Her plantain stall, which used to attract many customers, suddenly became quiet. People avoided her. Whispers followed her as she walked through the village. Some said she had brought bad luck upon herself by getting involved with a man she didn't fully understand. Others said that powerful people were after her. One day, her closest friend Shade, a fellow market woman who had always been by her side, came to her in tears. "Toyin, you have to be careful," Shade warned, her voice trembling. "There are people watching you. Fumi, she's dangerous. I heard her talking with some men, saying that they need you to disappear. I don't know what she's planning, but it's not good. Please, Toyin, leave this life behind before it's too late." Shade's words sent shivers down Toyin's spine. Could it be true? Was she in danger because of Prince Tade? And why would a powerful woman like Fumi care about someone like her? As the days passed, Toyin's life began to unravel. One evening, as she returned from the market, she found her small house ransacked. Her few belongings were scattered everywhere, and the little money she had saved was gone. She collapsed to her knees, overwhelmed by the feeling that her world was falling apart. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. When Toyin opened it, she was shocked to see a stranger, a man she had never met before, standing in the doorway. His face was shadowed by the night, but his voice was calm and confident. "My name is Adewale," he said. I have been sent by people who cares about you. There are things happening about you you don't understand. You are in danger, but I can help." Adewale was a mysterious figure, and his motives were unclear. He seemed to know more than he let on, and Toyin wasn't sure whether to trust him. But with everything falling apart around her, she had no choice but to follow him. As Toyin followed Adewale through the dark streets of the village, her heart raced with fear and anticipation. Where was he taking her? And who had sent him? Was this all connected to Prince Tade, or was there something even darker at play? Little did Toyin know, her life was about to change in ways she would have never imagined. The world she thought she knew was full of secrets, and the people around her were not who they seemed. But would this journey lead Toyin to the life of her dreams, or into the heart of danger? The answers lay ahead, but for now, Toyin was about to enter a world she never thought she would be part of. Toyin followed Adewale, her mind racing with questions, her heart pounding in her chest. The night was cold and every shadow seemed to hide a secret. She glanced nervously at Adewale, wondering if she had made the right choice by trusting this mysterious stranger. But what other option did she have? Everything in her life was crumbling. As they moved further away from the village and into the outskirts, Toyin couldn't shake the feeling of dread that weighed heavily on her. The path was unfamiliar, but Adewale walked with confidence of people who knew exactly where he was headed. He hadn't spoken a word since they left her house, and the silence between them felt oppressive. They finally arrived at an old, dilapidated warehouse. The windows were shattered and the walls were covered in graffiti. Toyin hesitated, her instinct screaming at her to run, but before she could act, Adewale turned to her, his eyes reflecting a strange mix of compassion and sorrow. "You are in more danger than you know, Toyin," he said quietly. "This isn't just about a jealous woman or a secret prince. There are forces at work here that are far more powerful. If you don't trust me now, your life will never be the same." Just as Toyin was about to ask what Adewale meant, the sounds of footsteps echoed through the empty space. Her breath caught in her throat as three men emerged from the shadows, their faces hidden under hooded jackets. Toyin's pulse quickened. These men were not here by accident. One of them, a tall figure with a deep scar running across his cheek, stepped forward. His voice was low, almost a growl. "So this is the girl," he said, his eyes narrowing as he sized her up. "You have caused quite a stir, Toyin." Toyin's fear rose to her throat, choking her. She stepped back, but Adewale held out his hand, motioning for her to stay calm. The other two men flanked the scar-faced leader, their presence radiating danger. "Who are you?" Toyin whispered, her voice barely audible. The scared man chuckled darkly. "That doesn't matter. What matters is that you've been caught up in something far bigger than you realize. There are people who want you out of the way, and we are here to make sure that happens." Toyin's knees felt weak. She wasn't just a plantain seller anymore. Her life had been entangled with power she couldn't begin to comprehend. Before Toyin could say anything, Adewale stepped forward, his voice firm and commanding. "You don't touch her. I made a promise to keep her safe, and I won't let anyone harm her, not even you." The scared man smirked, his eyes glinting with malice. "You are bold, Adewale, but you should know better than to get in our way. Funmi has made it clear, Toyin is a threat to everything. If you want to survive, you will step aside." Adewale's face hardened, and without warning, He lunged forward, grabbing the scared man by the collar, slamming him against the wall. The two other men moved to attack, but Adewale was faster, knocking one to the ground with a swift punch and blocking the other's strike with ease. Toyin stood there frozen in place, her heart racing as the scene unfolded before her. Who was this man? And how did he know so much about the danger surrounding her? Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the warehouse. Toyin flinched as the sound rang in her ears. The fight stopped and all eyes turned towards the entrance. Standing in the doorway was none other than Prince Tade, his face unreadable as he looked at the chaos unfolding before him. Toyin's heart skipped a beat when she saw Prince Tade. She had no idea he had followed her, or that he even knew that she was in about the danger she was in. But now, seeing him standing there, a mix of relief and confusion washed over her. "What is going on here?" Prince Tade demanded, his voice filled with authority. The scared man, still pinned against the wall by Adewale, sneered. "You are too late, Your Highness. The wheels are already in motion. There's nothing you can do to save her now." Tade's eyes darkened at the man's words. "We'll see about that." Without another word, Tade motioned for Toyin to come to him. Trembling, she took a hesitant step forward, her eyes darting between the prince and Adewale, unsure of what to do. Adewale, sensing her hesitation, released the scared man and turned to Toyin, his expression softening. "You need to go with him, Toyin," Adewale said quietly. "He can protect you from what's coming." Toyin nodded, though her mind was swirling with confusion. Why was she suddenly the center of so much attention? Who were these men? And why did she feel like her life was no longer in her control? As she stepped towards Prince Tade, he reached out his hands, his eyes locking with hers in a way that made her heart skip. But before their hands could meet, a voice rang out from the shadow, a voice that sent chills down Toyin's spine. Well, well, well. It seems the game has just begun. From the darkness, Funmi stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with malice. She was dressed in an elegant modern gown, her every step calculated and powerful. "You really thought you could escape me, Toyin," Funmi said with a wicked smile. "You have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. But don't worry, this is just the beginning." Toyin's blood ran cold. The prince, Adewale, the strange men, it was all too much for her to process. She felt like a pawn in a game she did not understand, a game that seemed to be spiraling out of control. This was where Toyin's journey truly began. But would this chance encounter be the blessing she had always hoped for? Or would it bring more struggles into her life? The answers lay ahead. But for now, Toyin was about to enter a world she never thought she would be part of.